maybe even improving the team even more, regardless of only falling in 5 sets in ACC play.
As you can see in that first rally, Chinaza Inde and Sabrina Starks in on the block to get the first points of the match. Serving is Lexus Akeo. Her sister was a server last year, the setter, for Pitt. There's Parchment again on the far side. Akeo setting up Lund and blocked out of bounds. Another point for the Panthers. As we take a look at the head coach of the Panthers, Dan Fisher, got his 250th win in the victory over Florida State on Friday night.
And a fantastic job by Fisher. Only been on the team, only been there for 7 years, and he has really revolutionized Pittsburgh volleyball.
And there's Melissa Evans getting the first points on the board for the Pack, as the lefty doing a great job here in her junior year, 5th in the ACC in kills. That was 378 now this year.
Well, that's a sick hitting percentage in a very, very good conference, and a good example of that hitting percentage is in that swing right there. That was the tool. Instead of going through the block, she hit it off the block to get the point.
Starks up the middle getting the point.
Boy, plenty of room for Pittsburgh to swing there on the swing of Sabrina Starks, and the Wolfpack's going to have to find a way to slow that sort of swing down. Great set by Akeo.
And the serve-receive error there will give the Pitt Panthers another wide-open chance to drop the hammer, and Sabrina Starks off to a great start for the Panthers.
And again, another fantastic connection, fantastic set from Akeo. And right now, only a solo block against that middle attack. Boy, that's going to cause problems for NC State later on.
And so Kayla Lund serving. Lund, 30 service aces this year. And again, another problem for NC State. They can't even get in sequence, as Melissa Evans will attack from the 10-meter line. Now Pitt with their opportunity. And that's blocked off a hand. Stephanie Williams, another all-ACC performer.
And we're starting to see right away why Pittsburgh is as good as they are. Great body control and balance from Lexus Akeo to go up and make a set that was very difficult to make. She could have easily gone into the net on that one, but instead a great delivery resulting in a point.
Williams trying to climb up the ladder as far as all-time kills. She was 6th entering the weekend. Now Frazier sets it up for Sharpton. Jessica Kemp, welcome to the match. NC State cuts it to 3.
And just what the doctor ordered. Kemp normally goes behind the setter with great frequency. That one in front of the setter, catching the middle block for Pittsburgh off guard.
He's going to play a key role here this afternoon. Double-digit kills 16 times this year as the lefty Evans serves. There's Akeo setting up for Inde, and Inde makes easy work, 6-2.
Nice save for Inde, maybe the first errant set from Akeo, and Inde had to really work her way around the block and really more tool that block instead of just banging away at the floor. Nice serve from Hiegas.
Yeah, she's serving.
And nice play by Hiegas, and she is the transfer from from Iowa State. Iowa State known for their libero training. So for Pittsburgh to pick up Hiegas, great get for them as a transfer.
So Lane Van Buskirk hit it out of bounds as Jade Parchment will serve. Parchment long there as the Cypress, Texas sophomore misses an opportunity for NC State to cut the margin. And now you'll see a number of subs here in the rotation. Markowick, the senior, who was honored by the NC State athletic department. It's a new college trend.
And a classy gesture from NC State to honor the Pittsburgh seniors, knowing full well that the seniors are going to get their due today for the Wolfpack.
Good block. Jessica Kemp, as the Wolfpack read that very nicely.
Yeah, nice block there, and maybe an unwise swing. That swing should have really gone down the line. It would have taken advantage of Nina Sharpton, the smaller block, but instead they take a chance against the middle block of NC State. That ball gets stuffed for a point.
Here's Kristen McDaniel coming in to serve, the Hawaii freshman. Lefty serve to the backside. Van Buskirk, what a nice dig on the back row by Parchment. They have to free ball it over, and it goes a little long, and the point will go to Pitt.
And some nice tempo play from Van Buskirk and Pittsburgh. That was a very, very quickly run quick attack. Some quick attacks are quicker than others. That one was lightning fast.
Kaylee Frazier returns back into the lineup, 4th in the ACC in digs entering the match. Coach Hampton Keith talked about how important she was as their defensive team goes. There's a tip over and a beautifully laid shot by Markowick, who was preseason All-ACC.
Very smart tip there. There was really not a whole lot of room left to tip that ball just out of the reach of the NC State defender.
Here's Sharpton to Terry. Very, very interesting as the block. There were a trio of Pack players on the front line. Chukwu Jakwu looked like she got a handle on that one.
Absolutely, and again, the great reach from Chukwu Jakwu, and she's pumped up, and so too is the senior Lauren Terry. You can see her pumped to close that block.
And Coach Linda Hampton Keefe talked about Terry and the sacrifices she's made this year. Typically a middle blocker, they put her on the right side, and it looked like the pole was touched, and the point will go to NC State, and they've stuck around. They've hung around in this first set.
Absolutely. After it being down 6-3, it's 9-6. They're going back and forth right now. You spoke real highly of Lauren Terry. Yes, she's taken on a lot of different roles here this season, playing right side and a little bit of left and middle, sometimes in the same game and in consecutive rotations.
And nice job by Chukwu Jakwu to get a partial block. And Melissa Evans says, get that out of here. And NC State certainly putting on a show here early.
And Lund got underneath this just a little bit. I don't think she could quite see the block, and great block positioning for the NC State Wolfpack.
There's Nina Sharpton on to serve. That's set high. Lund not going to be denied there, as again the candidate for ACC Player of the Year.
And that was a different look for Lund. This one was more of a shoot set. Much different than that prior ball coming off the hands of Soboleski, who has come in the 6-2 setting system.
And she's a setter and a right side, and a net violation called on NC State, so the lead extended back to 4. And that's one thing about Coach Fisher and his team. He talked about just the versatility they have and how deep they are as a whole.
Absolutely, and Soboleski is ready to go, and she has a pedigree all her own. Her mother was the head coach at Edinburgh, I believe, in Pennsylvania for many, many years. So volleyball's in the blood of Maddie Soboleski.
There's Terry. Good dig on the back row by Van Buskirk. NC State now with a chance. They go with the lefty off the top of a Panther hand. Now here comes Lund near side. Too much mustard out of bounds. Point NC State.
And some very, very good high-level play. I think both teams are starting to wake up here on a Sunday afternoon. And the result here is the long ball, Lund trying to go down the line, but she couldn't quite pull it down just enough to get that ball in.
Now one of the 3 seniors honored today, Grace Irvin, the Raleigh, North Carolina product. Had 31 digs in a match against Virginia Tech earlier this year. Coach talked about her and the other 2 seniors that we've talked about already, just changing the culture. There's a block at the net by Parchment. They'll try again. Starks not able to get that one down. Here's Parchment coming from the backside. NC State with another opportunity.
And I really like that idea. And that's what happens. You survive a rally. And I really like that idea from Parchment to reset. She hit into the block. That ball rebounded back and allowed NC State to make another play at it. And the longer the rally, you never know how things are going to go. That's an error on the Pitt side.
Yep, that error charge to Pelagas. Chukwu Jakwu certainly had a calls in that one. But Markowick, they dial her up.
How about that answer? How about a big, strong lefty swing down the line? And again, good choice by Soboleski to go the backside against maybe the shorter block of Parchment.
Now Chinaza Inde returns in the rotation as Lexus Akeo will serve. And That'll carry him off, but somehow Pitt keeps it alive. Now NC State front set by Sharpton to Chukwu-Jakwu, and Jakwu did not finish it out. And the error will cost NC State. They're down 4 as Chukwu-Jakwu hit it into the net.
Yeah, usually that's a common problem for a super high reaching athlete is sometimes when they reach and tip, they don't know whether or not to tip down or tip up over the block. I think she got caught in between on that one.
Now here's Sharpton. Not any question of where to go there. She finds the seam, puts the point on the board for NC State for Chukwu-Jakwu.
And I love that they went back to Chukwu-Jakwu to get her energy back and for Sharpton to go back to her on the next immediate play. That shows the confidence that she has in Chukwu-Jakwu to get it together.
There's a KO to Inde, and Melissa Evans says that just happened.
Fantastic solo block by Melissa Evans. She was well positioned, and that was more about location than anything else. She was well positioned to make the read to stop Inde.
Here's Kaylee Frazier out of the Woodlands, Texas. I'll try Lund from the far side. Here's Parchment, and that's in.
Is an NCAA championship.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And they have the opportunity, Paul, as we talked before the match, to even stay at home to win a national championship.
Absolutely, and Pittsburgh's not only playing for that high seed, but the national Final Four and the finals match will be played in Pittsburgh, so it's a virtual home match if they were to make it to the Final Four.
Pitt scoring the first points out of the timeout. Here's Inde. Got in between two pack players on the back row, and Pitt comes out, flexes their muscle with 2 straight points out of the timeout.
Very good message and answer from Inde. It was probably the best connection they've had with Inde yet today. Her connection up until now has maybe been a little bit off between she and her setters, so good swing there.
And here's Evans. That one caroms off of Starks and out of bounds, and Evans cuts the margin back to 2. Evans already 2 kills in the first set.
Nice swing by Evans, and I think Starks and Williams, though, would like to have that one back. They were well positioned, but that ball caromed off their arms and out of bounds.
It was important for NC State, if they were going to try to pull an upset today, was to keep it close in the first set. Coming to that point, as a beautiful dig will give NC State a chance. And Jade Parchment on the long pass from Evans gets the point for NC State.
Well, it also started with that survival dig off of Stephanie Williams. Williams with a bomb hard cut. That ball was up and playable, and that allowed for the swing from Parchment to finish it.
Down 1. They cut it to 1 just a minute ago. There's a KO. Inde just crushes that one. And again, nice job by Frazier, or rather Irvin, to even keep it alive somewhat. But Inde showing why she's all ACC, maybe even all American caliber.
Yeah, I think you could put her in that conversation. And it all started off the pass from Hayegas. If Hayegas can, if the passing of Pittsburgh can create 3 options for Pittsburgh all day, it's going to be a tough time with all the different threats that they have.
And a net violation on NC State. That'll be
accolades of a season that Pittsburgh has, but NC State has given all that they could handle to Pittsburgh so far. And admittedly, at 17-14, if you change the jerseys to something neutral, you couldn't quite tell who the #1 team was, or a team being considered for #1 in the country versus the other.
Service error there by Villegas. Tell you the pedigree that she brings to the table. You talk about how Iowa State breeds and does a great job in training liberos. She was the Big 12 Libero of the Year in 2018.
Absolutely, and you got to credit Christy Johnson-Lynch for a great job that she does out at Iowa State. And before that, she got a lot of that coaching pedigree at Wisconsin. And the coach even then was one of the top-ranked setters in the country for Nebraska. So for Christy Johnson-Lynch to transfer that information and all that knowledge to Hayegas, I'm sure it was heartbreaking to learn that Hayegas was making the move to Pittsburgh.
And Stephanie Williams with the point last go-round, and Jessica Kemp returning the favor on a beautiful set as NC State cuts it back to 2.
Fantastic slide by Kemp, and that's the play that Kemp uses best, is that slide. She has a great connection with Nina Sharpton, and she's clearly a little bit better behind the setter, as she has been most of the season. And that's the kill and the side out.
I always say the magic number for volleyball is to get to 21st. And a beautiful block. Sharpton and Chukwu tandem block there. And it's a 1-point first set.
And nice job by the both of them to come together and set the block. And Sharpton's done a good job early on here in this match, setting the block and causing problems for the Pittsburgh swing.
And Van Buskirk did not get all of that, and that might have been to her advantage because Chukwu was right on top of her. And the point goes to the Panthers as Stephanie Williams, who has compiled, entering today, 1,421 kills in her Panther career.
That's a lot of swings, and to do it for a now 4-time ACC champion tells you that that's being done at a high level, and she's relied upon big time for the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Good job there by Pitt, staving off the block on the far side, and they worked it out for Kayla Lund, who gets the kill and gets to that magic number of 20. More times than not, you're going to see a team that gets to 20 win the set if they get there first.
They're going to step on the gas here, and we'll have to see what the answer is. A good swing from Melissa Evans, but out of the back.
Great crowd here on hand. And look at the ACC champion, Pittsburgh Panthers, as both teams down to their final 2 games of the regular season.
Absolutely, and for NC State, they're trying to close it out on a good note. They've had a very injury-riddled season with everybody from Frazier, Evans, Chukwu, Bryant, and Rowland all out for parts of the season. Boy, that's nearly half their roster. So right now they're trying to finish their home streak, home tilt on a positive run.
Sharpton out of the timeout from the back line. And a dunk down by Lauren Terry off the carom. NC State down 3.
Nice block on the side of Pitt, but then it just barely trickled over, which was just enough for Lauren Terry to get her hands on it and put that down.
And here's Sharpton to Hillegas. Kayla Lund caroms off. Wolfpack tandem block there. Point for the Panthers as they'll make their subs in the rotation.
And a nice tool from Lund off the outstretched arms of Melissa Evans. And that swing was off of more of the arm of Melissa Evans. So instead of swinging super high, Lund swings kind of sideways down the line, glances off the block of Evans, and down for a point.
Sharpton sets it up for Terry. That's blocked in the air, rolls around on the net. Now Pittsburgh with a chance. Lund softly puts it over. Back line, Melissa Evans. That one tools off of a Panther. It might have been Starks who it came off of, and the Pack get the serve as it goes out of bounds.
Good swing from Evans. Evans had to adjust a little bit to that set. She comes in, and Lund was floating just a little bit on that block, so she wasn't quite positioned where she needed to stop the swing of Evans.
And Kayla Lund already with 6 kills as Irvin set to serve. And that's long. Service errors like that are unacceptable in a match like this, especially as you're getting close to the end of the first set.
Absolutely. For Irvin and the Wolfpack, they're kind of running out of time here. I like the aggressive serve of Irvin, but that's a tough one to go down 23-19.
Now we're back to the top as Akeo will serve. Sharpton, Chukwu, nice dig on the backside. They're going to call a double hit on Starks, and that error will give Pack the point.
Yep, and they're trading points here right now, and maybe they've slipped back into both teams in a sloppier style of play. I know Starks would like to have that one back. She put up 2 hands instead of 1 to make the save for the ball that was just coming at her at the net.
And Starks tips it over, mistimed her jump. Here's Sharpton for Evans. That's blocked at the net as Inde and Starks were there to combo block that.
And I do like the set from Sharpton. She had to make a real athletic move to put Evans in a position to swing. The only problem was Pittsburgh knew that was coming. They had their block set up really nicely.
Here's Kayla Lund. Sharpton. And Kemp right into the net, and Pitt takes the first set, 25-20. We're through one set here at Raleigh, NC State. NC State falls 25-20. We'll take a timeout, come right back here on the ACC Network Extra.
If they're going to run with a 6-2 through the national tournament as they're working with today, then that efficiency is going to have to take another step up, knowing that they're using two different setters during the match.
So Inde starts off the second set with a point, and Inde 4 kills on 6 total attacks already. She's hitting 50% at this point.
Yep, and it was those line swings that were really dominant there as she was overpowering the left side block of the NC State Wolfpack, and that was what caused the problems and scored so much for Inde.
And Stephanie Williams, it's been a couple of times, as you can see, she's literally just shoved the ball down.
Nice power tip there, and the block was leaving a gap, and that allowed for her not to try to do too much, instead just push it down and take the point.
One. Sharpton. Evans, she'll tip it over. Good dig. Effort by Williams. Here's Inde, and a beautiful backline dig by Sharpton. Fading out of bounds. Evans, but Inde blocks it. And Pitt out strong here in the second set.
And it's been a mixed bag that has been the start for the Panthers. Some good serving, some good blocking, some smart swinging. All have contributed to the 3-0 lead here in set 2.
Lund tips the net there. And here's Terry. Terry! Fired up for NC State as they're finally on the board here in the second set.
Yep, and Terry, the senior, finally gets some connection here on the outside. Nice reach. She really went up and over at the block of Inde and Starks. So nice swing. And for NC State to get hot, they're going to need Lauren Terry to contribute in the kills statistic.
Here's Grace Irving serving. NC State has not led today. Here's Inde. And Inde is going to do her part to keep that in, as far as keep that intact as she gets the point for Pitt.
Yep, and Inde kind of makes something out of nothing. Pittsburgh was out of system, but she was available to take a big swing off of a high out of system set, and she puts it down.
Here's Villegas. Long. And it's been Pittsburgh somewhat making a few mistakes, more so than usual, that have kept the pack in it.
And I think sometimes that's a function of the coaching staff saying we want to be aggressive today, so we're going to be aggressive with the serve, aggressive with the swing, and really aggressive with our strategy, win, lose, or draw, however any point goes down.
Stephanie Williams drilled that.
Nice big high angle swing, and that's one of the hardest balls to defend. Everybody thinks the straight down ball is hard to defend. The straight down ball is defended by the blocker. So that high angle swing, there's a lot of court back there, and when hit well, it's very tough to defend.
Well, and Stephanie Williams has just shown her ability as that serve too long. You've seen her tip it, you've seen her shove it, and then you've seen her crush it to get points for Pitt. Unfortunately for them, the mistake here gives State a chance to get back in it.
Yeah, absolutely. But in referring to Williams, that speaks to experience and ability for her to be able to use all the shots in the book. And this time, kind of a line swing that was at 80% of her swing.
That one actually hit the scoreboard. NC State certainly used to it. Jessica Kemp just tips it over.
And that's preparation on the side of NC State. That's where the home gym advantage comes into play. They know how that board affects the ball, and Pittsburgh wasn't ready for it.
Lane Van Buskirk from Canada. Dialed her up quickly.
Nice run from Van Buskirk, and again, the solo block And Kemp's got her hands full if she's going to go solo and try to slow down the middle quick from Van Buskirk.
Sharpton, back set to Kemp on the slide. What a dig by Stephanie Williams, but NC State with a chance to drop the hammer. Good dig by Hillegas as we keep playing. Lund, far side. Good job by Parchment to keep it alive. From the back line, Melissa Evans gets the point, and NC State cuts it down to 1.
I really like the persistence of NC State. They're concerned that maybe midway through there could have been a call, but instead they go back row attack to Evans. Evans hits high into the right back. Great swing for Evans, and way to stick with it on the NC State side during a longer rally.
Here's Parchment. Vegas. Kayla Lund. NC State can just free ball it over. Great job to keep it alive. Now Pitt, they're in set. Lund. As it'll carry over, Sharpton tips it. We keep playing. Lund. Melissa Evans sets it up for Sharpton. Here's Lauren Terry. Good pancake there by Hillegas. The rally continues. Kemp tips it over. Great dig by Pittsburgh to keep it alive as Soboleski will push it over.
Such good decision making right now from Nina Sharpton, picking and choosing the sets as she goes.
And that point will go to Kayla Lund as that rally was a huge one for Pitt. And you can see NC State is certainly complaining about a double hit. That's the second time they've done so.
Yep, there have been a couple of doubles, and it's clear that a couple of doubles that were debated as doubles. So clearly the officials today are going to let them play a little bit and let these rallies go a little bit longer.
And Parchment, Sharpton, she had a joust at the net that she was not able to win because Kayla Lund just outranked her there. And Pitt, as a challenge was brought on, they have answered to stretch the lead back out to 3.
Yep, and Sharpton was there, but that's going to be a nasty matchup. A joust between Sharpton and Lund is seldom going to go in the favor of Sharpton.
There's Evans from the back line, just long, 9-5.
Another good choice from Evans, and unfortunately that one sailed long, but this time she switched to go into the left back corner on her back row attack, but that ball did sail just long.
And here's Sharpton setting it up for Kemp on the slide. Now Van Buskirk to Soboleski. Markowitz with a great dig by Kaylee Frazier. There's Terry, shanking out of bounds has been Buskirk. And NC State back on the board.
Absolutely, and for Lauren Terry, another one where she was maybe a little bit out of rhythm, but she makes something out of nothing over there on the left side. I wouldn't say nothing, decent set, but the rhythm wasn't there, and she still found a way to get that ball through the block and glancing off the defenders for a point.
And Pitt will get the point there. I think Stephanie Williams.
And the strategy for Pittsburgh has been very, very clear. They are working their line shot. Their left side hitters are working that line shot very, very hard. They're putting a lot of pressure on Nina Sharpton to put up a block, and that time it wasn't quite enough as that ball glanced off the right back defender for a point.
And that was actually Kayla Lund last time. I was blocked by the official, and that one from Inde falls in. And Pitt back up by 5 at 11-6.
Nice high angle swing for Inde into the deep, deep right back corner. And again, a very difficult ball to defend when she can hit that location.
And Frazier sets it up for Sharpton. Sharpton high to Terry. Terry tips it over. Very good hustle there by Akeo, and the point will go to the pack.
And I like the hang time. Of course, what you'll see from Lauren Terry from afar is the hang time, but what you don't see is just what a smart decision that was not to try to take a swing at it and instead to take the tip. Very, very smart, experienced play from the senior Lauren Terry.
And that hit the pole out of bounds. Point, NC State. The referee had to change his mind.
And you could see him kind of smiling, and he was waving off the coaching staff from NC State. NC State, in unison, stood up and said, "I don't think this is the right call."
That one clips the net. Here's a KO, and that was easy work by the sophomore from Springfield, Nebraska, Sabrina Starks.
And that's how things started in the first set for Pittsburgh. They were running quick attacks with Sabrina Starks, and that nearly no-tempo middle quick is very tough to defend when it's run correctly. Here in this second set, and also I can't say enough about Nde, who has really come on strong here in the second set. A nice high angle swing, a power tip a little bit earlier, so some good decision making on the Pitt Panthers side.
As Chukwu Jakwu reached out her arms and got a hold of that one, and it snuck in underneath Villegas. And that's a big point for NC State out of the timeout.
And Wolfpack will take anything they can get to kind of scratch back into this second set. They're not out of this by any means. It's been a battle of really, really high level here in set two.
Chukwu Jakwu's sister plays at Boston College, so that family very athletic. Jade Parchment with the block at the net. As Parchment comes in and makes some noise for NC State, they've gotten back-to-back points.
And Parchment pairing with Chukwu Jakwu to really, really set the tone and put the roof on Chinaza Nde.
There's Gray serving. Williams setting up a KO. And that's a little long. NC State cuts it to 2 on the error, and Coach Fisher not happy. He'll call a timeout.
And really, I think they want to stop, slow things down regarding Grace Irvin. Her serve was strong in the first set. That serve here just a moment ago caused problems for Pittsburgh. They couldn't get in rhythm. And sure enough, here you're going to get this outside swing when they're a little bit out of system. And Lund may be trying to do a little bit too much and maybe should have just kept that ball in.
Coach Fisher, in fact, his last year at Concordia in the NAIA school, he went 38-0 and won a national championship. So he is a proven winner.
That's right. And winning by any other name is still winning. And I know a lot of people may not be familiar with that Concordia team, but that team was very, very good. And for Coach Fisher, I think the most unique thing about it is that he went from the West Coast all the way out to Pittsburgh to coach this Pittsburgh team. So credit to him to make the move out to Pittsburgh and to have such a hot career out here out on the East Coast.
And he's only just won 83% of his matches at Pitt, 250 and 50.
Not a bad run if you're a coach. I would guess that there aren't many coaches that would thumb their nose to that record for sure.
And one thing I asked him in preparation for this one and even last year, I said, you see some of those schools like the Stanfords, schools, they'll have like 6'4", 6'5", 6'2", and he said, we don't have that, but they're just, size obviously it could be a factor in other matches, but they're just as good as anybody else in this country.
And where it's going to come into play is if they make it to the Final Four, because no doubt in the Final Four they're going to see some of those, you call them trees or just taller teams, whether it's a Stanford or or a Baylor or a Texas. They've all got 6'3", 6'4" horses. So for Pitt, it'll be about shot making and defense if they can make it to the Final Four.
They split with Penn State, their rival, as Van Buskirk gets the point. That's their only loss of the year, which was at home to Penn State. You beat the 4th-ranked team in the country on the road, and then you lose to them in the next one.
And it was that split with Penn State that got them such a high RPI ranking. Penn State has proven to be have another strong year in the Big Ten, so that victory over Penn State clearly is paying dividends in the RPI for Pitt, even beyond sweeping the ACC up until now.
Melissa Evans goes a little bit wide as Soboleski serving.
So the new setter in Soboleski, that takes a KO out. So they're, again, working this 6'2" or 6'2" sort of system. So we'll see how the Panthers' connection is here off of Soboleski versus Akeo.
And you can see Coach Fisher shaking his head in disappointment in that serve going out of bounds. There's Lund setting it up for Soboleski. Van Buskirk just crushes it. Nothing Irvin could do there.
Nice middle swing here, and she splits it between the block of Kemp, and I think Parchment was thinking about putting up a block, but she couldn't make a decision as to who would be set. So credit Soboleski for being
Saturday, 2 Eastern on ACCN and the ESPN app. Back to action here as NC State and Pitt battling. The back judge was waving his flag. The point does end up being for the Panthers.
So the line judge was motioning that ball was attacked out of bounds, not that replay, but in another one. But the referee was kind of spot on there and said, no, let's play on.
So it makes it 19-13. And that serve, NC State's having a problem with that. And Pitt's starting to take control here in the second set.
And we really hit on that a little bit earlier on. It's about that first touch, and right now it's the first touch for service reception for the Wolfpack that is really preventing them from getting the offense going that they need to.
Down 7, Parchment with the tip over. Pitt will reset. They go far side. They dial up the All-ACC junior and Kayla Lund. Point Pitt.
And Lund took more of a mini approach. She didn't have the chance to really go all out on her approach. Instead, about a two-step, and then she snapped that through the block and down for a point.
Now 21-13, NC State has some work to do here. Parchment as it caroms off looked like Van Buskirk, and then Parchment with the block near side. Kayla Lund says, I'll take it from here. And Lund, 11 kills in this match.
And that's just another good example of what we talked about in the pregame. That ball high and deep, she's gone line, she's already gone high and deep, and that doesn't account for the tips and the other things that she's done this match too.
And that run ended, that 6-0 scoring run by the Panthers ended on the service error. And now Lauren Terry will return in the rotation.
And they're looking for a spark from Lauren Terry. She has picked up several energetic kills here, and they're going to need a few if they want to get back in this second set.
And that's blocked. Kemp in on that one. They'll try again for Kayla Lund. Lund thought better of it. Caresses that one over, and the point will go to the Panthers as they're 2 points away from taking a 2-0 lead.
Very, very smart tip on the side of Young. Young just swung deep a moment ago. And so now a short, shallow tip really catches the NC State Wolfpack off guard.
Both teams still have one more match left after this one. NC State will take on Boston College, and Pitt will take on Louisville. Here's Kemp on the slide, blocked. And Lund and Starks combining on that one.
Fantastic block there, and for Kemp really had nowhere to go. That was no fault of anybody else except a credit to the Pittsburgh block, really shutting down that slide of Kemp.
And this is set point as Avery Perosa serves. Perosa, the Pennsylvania native. And they'll try to finish it off here. Lund, as she got a free ball from Melissa Evans, and Lund crushes that one down to the floor as 25-14. We'll see Pitt take a 2-0 lead.
Pass it just a little bit better. They'll be able to generate multiple options, and that could put the Pittsburgh block off guard.
You can see again,
for NC State, the first goal would be the moral victory of picking off a sixth set off of Pittsburgh. But at this rate, hey, a 2-0 lead, and it's the first lead all match today for NC State.
12 of Pitt's ACC wins out of the 16 have been sweeps.
Tell you what, Pittsburgh travels with their brooms. I know it sounds cliche, but I think what that really means is they're just looking to take care of business. A very well-focused, very, very smart team, and as Coach Fisher has echoed earlier, they're still trying to get better. Here we are in late November, and they're not resting on their laurels. They're still tweaking their system, trying to get better.
Lund serving. As Parchment. Just thunder in a bottle, lightning in a bottle, whatever you want to call it, she gets the point.
And you got to love that the arm swing of Parchment. It is very, very fast. The video doesn't do that arm swing justice. When you see it live, it is a fast arm, very difficult to block.
And that one will fall in.
Nice ball from Sabrina Stark. She went no look on that one. In coaching circles, they call that the no looky cookie. She was looking and aiming, and everything was in one direction. She went over her shoulder and instead went the other way for the point.
So Hilliga serving for the Panthers. Kemp sneaks one in right in front of Lund, and NC State maintains the 2-point lead.
And when NC State is in system, they can use all their offensive weapons, and it doesn't just allow for Pittsburgh to make an easy prediction. And there, Kemp found just enough room to squeeze that ball through for a point.
There's a KO setting up Stephanie Williams. Sharpton says, get that out of here. Point, Pat.
Nice discipline from Sharpton. Sharpton kind of hesitated going up on that block. She saw that Pittsburgh was a little bit out of rhythm. That gave her just enough hang time as the shortest front row player to still be able to put that block down.
Pittsburgh out of sync there. They're able to get it across. Here's Kemp on that slide. Hilligus was right there on the back row dig. And Frazier did all she could to try to keep that in play, to no avail. Point for the Panthers.
And some nice hustle from NC State. NC State starting to taste it with their first lead again here in set 3. And they're a little bit more energized. They came out ready to go here in set 3, and Pittsburgh needs to respond.
Now here's Soboleski serving. 2 service aces this year entering the match. And that's blocked. And a free ball comes over. Van Buskirk says, how do you do?
And that was the triple block against the back row attack. So that nice triple really makes it hard for any ball to get past the block when all 3 players are putting their hands up to slow the attack.
So Nika Markowitz got the point for Pitt. And Stephanie Williams with a nice block. She angled it back down to the free space in front of the net.
And Sharpton did all she could, but that wasn't enough. Again, that's just not a good matchup, that overpass. And all Sharpton can do is try to win that joust, but to no avail.
Soboleski serving as it's tied at 5 apiece. Here's Terry from the 10-meter line. Delegas with the beautiful dig. Stephanie Williams, point, Panthers.
And that's a nice tempo outside set there. Not much time for NC State to make a decision on that block, so Kemp wasn't available, and the result was open space for Williams to put it down.
Beautiful look by our camera crew here this afternoon. There's a good pass down the line to Lauren Terry, and Terry notches this thing back up at 6.
I tell you, when Terry's in rhythm, she is tough to beat. Look at this reach, great reach, and smart rip down the line for the point, and glanced just off the outstretched block.
Here's Kemp serving. Kemp right at line. It's a free ball. Hilligus did a nice job of getting the arm bar out there to keep it alive. Now NC State with their opportunity in system. Soboleski, Hilligus high. Stephanie Williams. That's dug out by Parchment. Here's a back row attack by Evans, out of bounds.
And I really like the dig from Parchment. That block was there. The swing from Williams was clearly going cut, so Parchment adjusted around the block and was able to make a dig. The offensive return wasn't successful, but good play all around on the NC State side there.
Frazier setting up for Sharpton. Here's Parchment. I thought Terry for a second was going after it. Here's Soboleski to Van Buskirk off the block of Chukwu Jakwu. They set her up, and they go to the back line and get the point to knot it back up at 7.
Yeah, and very, very good play. Good choice from Sharpton to go to Chukwujekwu for the kill. And that's a nice changeup against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has been prepared for most swings for NC State. That one, good job from Sharpton to force it back to Chukwujekwu to get the point.
Here's a free ball on the attack now for NC State. Chukwujekwu could not take advantage of it, or what? No, they did. I think there was a hand that touched the net, and the point will go to NC State.
And that's a fortunate one. That was going to be an attack error, but instead we've got the net on the block attempt. A rare mistake from Van Buskirk.
Here's Lund. And Lund got enough on it to go over and was in a really peculiar spot, and NC State could not react to it well enough.
That's right. Well, and smart on Lund not to go bombs away. Instead, she went off speed into the open space in the short cut court, and that was enough to prevent NC State from finishing it off.
And speaking of finishing it off, Chukwujekwu gets in on the act. She shows her exuberance on the point.
And clearly a game plan change on the NC State side. A nice set of feeds to Chukwujekwu here in set 3, and the result is a 1-point lead for the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack did not lead in any of sets 1 or 2.
There's Frazier. Sharpton pushes it forward, and Parchment just full of energy. It's the point for NC State.
And a very, very deceptive play on the side of NC State. It started with the decoy from Chukwujekwu, and the sets had been going to her. That freed up Parchment to be available for a good swing there.
Soboleski to Markowitz. NC State now in system. Parchment again, blocked, and a fist pump of excitement by Sabrina Starks. And again, Starks second in the ACC in blocks coming into this match.
And Starks and Markovich, I think they didn't like the fact that Parchment got the last kill through. So you can see that they're very pumped for that stuff. A fantastic stop by both of those two to slow down the big swing of Parchment.
And Starks had 13 blocks in a win against Boston College earlier this year. Here's Parchment, blocked again by Inde and Starks. They'll try again, and it sneaks through. A little battle going on here between those three.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of eye contact there, but it's all in good competition. And for Parchment, it's going to be called in, but we'll have to see what this review shows us.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really tell from that angle. From our angle, it looked like it snuck in. And this is exactly what the officials will be looking at.
Yeah. And that angle, it looks like it's clearly in. And you know what? It's a boom play. These line judges don't have the easiest job, but in this case, I think that it was the correct call. So this challenge, I think, is going to stand with a point to NC State. And the rule on any line shot is if the ball touches any part of the line, even the back part of the edge of the line, that's still going to be considered in anyway. So
I don't think there's evidence to overturn it.
Yep, I agree. Yep, and the ruling there is there convincing evidence to change the call?
And the call will not be reversed. It stands, and the point will go to NC State.
And some of this might be Pittsburgh, and I wouldn't call it.
And little miscommunication by NC State. They were lucky to keep that alive, as Evans, too much mustard there as it goes out of bounds.
And 2 quick points out of that challenge, and you know, that's just what Pittsburgh was looking for, I think, out of that challenge, even besides the point if it were to be awarded or overturned.
There's Sharpton. Evans tools off of a Panther, and NC State stops the rally, and they're up by 2.
Nice swing by Evans, and Evans had to wait on that one because Sharpton was pushed over into the middle of the court. So nice timing for Evans to wait and then take the big swing.
Here's Parchment. And that is blocked, just rejected. And the point will go to the Panthers. Just Sabrina Starks, just so impressive.
It's just too much block over there against Parchment, and especially in a situation where everybody in the entire building knows Parchment was going to get set on that one. That includes the Pittsburgh block being well prepared to make that block.
And Hilligus just got six-packed as Kemp takes it off the face of Hilligus for the point.
Great swing by Kemp, and again, timing matters there, and the block was really out of position on the Panthers side, so that's a great score for Kemp, and NC State needs as much of Kemp's slide as they can get so they can stay ahead in this third set.
There's Lunn. Lunn will set up Stephanie Williams. Williams, it's like watching a basketball team set up a quick hitter.
Yep, and in that case, they were a little out of system, and Lunn stepped in and played it like a set, perfect set to Stephanie Williams to finish it off.
Sobolewski will be serving for the Panthers. They're unbeaten on the road this year. Their only loss, as I mentioned earlier, at home. And the free ball attempt goes awry as Stephanie Williams hits it into the net.
Yep, kind of a rare mistake for Williams. So at that, it's a 15-13 Wolfpack.
Timeout on the floor. We'll take it with them. ACC early there. Unfortunately, NC State out of a timeout serves it long.
Yep, and that timeout was kind of the media break was a bit of a momentum breaker for NC State. We'll see if NC State responds.
Well, Stephanie Williams just a minute ago hit it into the net, then hits it into the net on the serve, and you could see her frustration.
Yeah, I don't think she likes returning the favor of sorts after NC State gifted Pittsburgh with a point out of that break. So for her to give it back to them, not what she was looking for.
Melissa Evans tried to soccer it over, which is legal.
Good save by Evans. About the best she could do was stick her foot out, and if she catches that on her foot just a little bit differently, she may be the beneficiary of keeping a rally going. And as you mentioned, it's legal now. There was a time in NCAA history where it was not legal. And entering the game here for the first time is Zoe Faki to serve for Pittsburgh.
Zoe Faki out of Athens, Greece. Just 10 service aces on the year.
Good serve by her to start things off, a floating serve that came in flat. But Pittsburgh transitions really well there on the run, and they put it down for a point. Good decoy out of the middle, and that's what really prevented NC State from making the block the way they needed to.
And Kayla Lunn, 16 kills, game high. Faki, as Parchment shanks that one out of bounds, and you can see NC State starting to lose that momentum here. And you got to wonder if who is going to step it up for NC State to calm them down here in this situation.
Yep, and this is a difficult rotation for them. Only two passers in the passing pattern in Parchment and the libero Frazier.
And Lund blocked. Somehow Pitt keeps it alive. Terry did a nice job. They'll back set it to her. Stephanie Williams sets it high for Sobolewski. Kayla Lund shoves it down, and it gets the 2-point lead for the Panthers.
And that ball on the Panthers side was rebounding around, and they were fortunate to save it earlier on, but then the result was the point for Kayla Lund, just pushing the ball off of the block.
And Linda Hampton-Keith will call a timeout, and we'll take one with them as well. Set 3 continues here on the ACC. Out of the timeout here in the third set. Let's send it courtside.
Point for the Wolfpack.
6 kills for her, 4 blocks this afternoon. Hitting .455 at this point. There's Sobolewski, high set for Markowitz. Sharpton is the one who dug it out, so she had to have someone else set it up, but Melissa Evans said, I'll take care of it, here's the point.
And good on Kaylee Frazier to give a hittable ball. Frazier had to really chase that thing down, and Evans does the rest, and we're tied up again at 18.
We're coming up on that magic number 20 as Hillegas had to go around Stephanie Williams. Nice dig on the back row by Frazier. Here's Parchment. That goes off a Panther hand as the rally continues. Markowitz, Frazier, rather Grace, Irvin. Here's Evans. Markowitz coming from the far side to dig that. And that's blocked at the net. I think Chukwu Jekwu says no, no, no. And the Pack take the lead back at 19-18.
I tell you, Chukwu Jekwu was on the spot there, and she seals her outside hand just to make sure that that ball doesn't tool off her into the stands. Great block by Chukwu Jekwu.
There's Grace Irvin. And the Pack with a 1-point lead. Here's Soboleski. Quick set to Starks. That's blocked at the net. Lund tried her hand at it. And NC State was there. Here's Markowitz. What a dig on the back line by Irvin. Quick set to Chukwu Jekwu. Out of bounds. Tough break for the Pack. But that rally just indicative of how hard they're fighting.
Absolutely. And Grace Irvin with a fantastic dig to keep that run going. And Chukwu Jekwu, she didn't miss by more than an inch. Good idea. Good choice by her on that off speed.
So Lexus Akeo now serving, who came in 4th in the ACC in assists. Also had 24 service aces coming into the weekend. Here's Evans. Hillegas with a nice dig on the back row. Lund just punches it over. NC State trying to keep it alive, and they can't, unfortunately, as the Panthers grab the lead back at 20-19.
Yep, and you can see that classic Hawaiian set there. I don't know how closely you could see it, but it looks a little bit like the old deep dish. That ball stays in Akeo's hands for just a little bit longer, but the release is a little bit lower to her body, and she still was able to deliver a hittable ball.
There's Sharpton. Front set to Chukwu Jekwu, and Alexis Akeo can't get to it. And this one's tied once again at 20.
Nice job by Chukwu Jekwu. The rhythm wasn't quite there, but Pittsburgh was single blocking that attack, and Chukwu Jekwu was able to put the ball down. Key point here for Kaylee Frazier on the serve.
And she has really tried the off-speed serve, but Kayla Lund says this is the big time, and there's a reason why we're ranked number 2 in the country with that kill.
Yep, and that short serve didn't generate the trouble that NC State had hoped, so instead Pittsburgh was in system. They ran that shoot to Lund, and no chance for NC State on that point.
And Frazier on that receive error, unfortunately, hits it over, and the free ball finds Sabrina Starks, crushing that one to the hardwood, and the point will send a timeout.
That's the key horse for the Pittsburgh Panthers.
There's Lund, Frazier, Sharpton, back set to Melissa Evans, and says, we're not going down just yet.
It's a good answer from Evans going down the line. You can't credit Nina Sharpton enough for the location on that set. And this is where they have to be deceptive now with Parchment and Kemp in the front row. It's very important that the ball control be there so that all the choices are available for NC State.
Stephanie Williams with the tap, if you could even call it that, as it's 23-21. And Hillegas, as she will be replaced, Perosa will serve for her. And Perosa, as I said before, a redshirt junior out of Pennsylvania.
And this is a good opportunity for Perosa to take a pressure serve and in a pressure situation here for Pittsburgh.
Van Buskirk took advantage of that. And they are right at match point, looking for their 13th sweep in ACC play. And one step away from finishing out the ACC schedule perfect. And Jessica Kemp on the slide will not be denied, and the point will put NC State down 2. And as Lauren Terry will return to the rotation.
Nice job by Kemp, and again, they're going to run that slide as best they can with Kemp. And when in system, the only problem that I think NC State faces is that Kemp is where they want to go, but Pittsburgh knows that, so they're going to set up their block accordingly.
Here's a KO. Nice day. Ends the day on senior day for the Wolfpack and the Panthers as they win it 3-0 as Pitt moves to 28.